All right. Good morning, PTNS Daily Show. Happy Monday. Happy Memorial Day. Mike just jumped off here talking about Legacy Matters. Going to hit you with a twofer today, I guess. So what are we talking about today? Today's Memorial Day, so we're going to talk about some veterans health issues and some kind of greater concepts as well. I apologize for the terrible lighting in my very crappy apartment. I face the south, so the sun never really enters my apartment. So it's kind of dark and gloomy like this all the time. So sorry for the lighting. Sorry for the sound as well. Good morning, Kelsey. See everybody jumping on. So let's talk about today. Today's Memorial Day. Today is not Veterans Day. It gets confused very often. Memorial Day is more about remembering fallen military members more so than celebrating current living veterans. They get confused very often, but that's okay. That's not your job to know that difference, right? And I think from my own perspective, I used to be a person who used to get really upset at people who got those days confused, and I think I'm over that now. I think I'm over to saying Happy Memorial Day. I used to get upset when people said Happy Memorial Day. It wasn't supposed to be a happy day. It's supposed to be a hardcore day of being sad, but I think I'm over that too. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So what do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about the concept that we can't save everybody, and we'll talk about that as it relates to veterans' health issues specifically. But we'll also talk about how much success we're having as physical therapists, especially in the population health space, as we're talking about Mondays with the pop here, talking about all things population health on Mondays. And then we're going to talk about just the notion of just keeping going. Even though we can't save everybody, we can save a lot of people. We can do really good work. So the concept of just continuing to go, even if you aren't having the 100% excellent success rate that you'd like to see yourself have in an ideal world. So the first idea of not trying to save everyone is I read a book a couple weeks ago called, and I'm going to swear a lot today. I pretend like I don't swear a lot when I get on here. We try to keep it PG friendly, but I'm probably going to drop some swear words on here. So if you got the kids nearby, earmuffs on, maybe go out in the garage. So this book that I read is called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. And it was a really good book, really good eye-opening experience of just trying to be less of a tight ass as I've been diagnosed with tight ass disease. But what I got from this book more than that was that it is kind of human nature to try and solve and fix people. It's human nature to want to try and solve problems, try and solve people, try and fix people, and that's okay. And that's kind of in our nature as humans, that we're natural problem solvers, and that we do find joy, especially those of us in the healthcare field, especially those of us as physical therapists who tend to be more kind of touchy-feely than even your average healthcare provider, that we do find that natural joy in helping people and fixing people. But sometimes we can get caught up on that. Sometimes we can get so caught up on fixing everybody 100%, solving all of their own problems, that it can be difficult for them and it can be difficult for us. It can be unrealistic and unsustainable at times. It can even be detrimental at times in our nature to try and fix and solve people and fix and solve every problem. When that patient comes in the clinic, we want to address their pain, but we also want to try and address their sleep and their diet. We want them to be eating more vegetables and sleeping 8 hours and tracking their deep sleep. And we suddenly put ourselves on a pedestal to fix every single aspect of this person's life. We're trying to cure this person, right, of everything that's wrong with them, and we're trying to do it in the shortest amount of time in the most cost-effective manner, and we put all these pressures on ourselves to try and 100% save this person, and it doesn't always go that way. Sometimes it does, and that's really rewarding, but it doesn't always go that way, and we get caught up trying to cure people and save them, and it just becomes this really unrealistic and unsustainable goal. And so don't mishear me. I lay in bed at night and often think of things I could have done different with patients throughout the day, with gym members throughout the day that may have improved their outcome. It's certainly something that's always on my mind, but at the same time, that will eat away at you, that will get you. And I think that pertains especially to veterans' health issues. Veterans are a difficult population to work with. They have a lot going on, not only physically, but emotionally and psychologically as well. even I, as a combat veteran, have trouble working with the veteran population. It's difficult. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of dynamics going on. Last year on this day, I was in New Jersey doing MRF out with the folks at Proactivity, and I shared my story of kind of my experience with post-traumatic stress disorder, or just post-traumatic stress, as I like to call it. A lot of you reached out with your own stories, which is really cool. Some of you reached out and asked for help and advice on your own post-traumatic stress, post-traumatic stress experiences with your family members. I've kept in contact with a couple of you over the year, just talking about your experience so far, and that's been pretty cool. But some of you reached out, and again, here comes that trying to save everybody mentality that we have. Some of you reached out, and some of you, even for the entire year, have tried to give me different strategies to cure my post-traumatic stress, right? Hey, try this journaling technique, try this breathing technique, try this meditation technique. I think it will help. Some of you asked, what cured me? And I said this last year, and I'll say it again this year. I don't think it's something that gets cured. I think it's something that gets managed, something that we can get ahead of preventatively with things like what we talk about here on Mondays, with exercise, with diet, with sleep, with addressing the whole person. But I don't think it's something that ever gets cured, right? Just like we can't cure musculoskeletal problems, like we have to get rid of them with exercise, but then also prevent them with exercise, right? If you stop doing your exercises, you'll be right back in the same boat that you started in. So it's not something that can ever be cured, and it's not something that can be cured with a volley of different treatment ideas on kind of that saving people crusade. And I think we get caught up on that same mentality with our patients in the clinic. We try to give them 800 things that they need to work on. Sometimes on their first visit, we try to get them to eat more vegetables and track their sleep, and hey, do these 17 home exercises, and make sure you're using this breathing app, and make sure you're doing this meditation thing. And we overwhelm people, and we start to take responsibility for their problems. And we never really step back and zoom back and ask, probably what's the most important question is, hey, do you want my help? Are you ready for my help? Are you in a position where you can take my help? Is this something that you're actually ready for? And sometimes the answer to that question, if we actually are intellectually honest with ourselves, is no. Some people are not ready for that help, and we bombard them with different treatment ideas and try to address every single facet of their life and take personal responsibility for all their problems. We find out they're not ready for it, right? And it's no wonder that we don't have good success with those patients, because they're just not in a position where they want that help. They come in with shoulder pain, and they leave with 8 hours of work to do every night, with meditation and breathing and diet and exercise, and they're just not ready for that yet. And then they don't have good outcomes, and then we hold ourselves to being responsible for not saving that person, for not curing that person, and that can really eat away at us over time. And we see that a lot with veterans too, with these issues. We try to solve, maybe decades of combat experience with a recommendation for a breathing app, and then we're upset that we made no dent in their post-traumatic stress symptoms. So there are a lot of things in life that are chronic that we can't get rid of, and we need to understand that, right? You will always have stress about your bills, about your family, about your kids, about your spouse, about your house, about your retirement fund. That stuff is incurable, and we need to recognize that there are things in life that are not curable, that can't be solved with physical therapy and education on sleeping and meditation and breathing and diet. And that's just kind of part of being a human. And at some point, we don't want to erase that stress. We don't want to erase those experiences. People have reached out to me and told me if I try this journaling thing, I can get rid of my post-traumatic stress. And at some level, I don't want to get rid of it, because erasing those memories, erasing those experiences, it erases who I am. I need that experience. I need that pain. That has put me in the position that I am right now here talking to you. We don't want to erase those experiences. We want to learn from them. We don't want to just get rid of them. We don't want to meditate them away and 5, 7, 8 square breathing app them away. We need those. They're foundational to who we are as kind of an ever-evolving human being. There's a great movie. It's and if you aren't convinced yet that I'm a giant nerd, this will maybe cement it firmly in your mind. Star Trek V, the Final Frontier is the name of the movie. In this movie, we find out that Spock, and just please just bear with me here, okay? I'll get to a good point in a second. We find out in this movie that Spock has a brother, and his brother is this kind of faith healing person. and he can touch your forehead, and he can take away all your pain, all your painful memories, all your painful experiences. And so they're on this voyage to find God in the Enterprise. And Spock's brother is erasing the crew members' pain, erasing their experiences, and they turn into these kind of like happy robots. And Captain Kirk is the last holdout, and Spock's brother comes up to him to touch his head, and Captain Kirk slaps his hand away and says, I don't want you to take away my memories. I don't want you to take away my painful experiences. My pain is who I am. It's made me who I am. I need my pain. My pain is giving me the experience to lead this crew. My pain has given me the experience to be a better friend, a better family member, a better starship captain. I don't want you to erase my pain. Yeah, it's tough to deal with the side effects of what I've seen and what I've gone through sometimes, but I would never trade that for anything. And I think that's really true for our lives, right? I can't really remember any happy times, right? I can't tell you the details of high school graduation or undergrad graduation or grad school graduation. I only remember the tough times in my life when I really think about it. I remember where I was on this day last year was at Proactivity West in New Jersey doing Murph with a whole bunch of people sharing 3 pull-up bars, just people and bodies everywhere doing push-ups and pull-ups and air squats. And it was fun. It was super tough and gritty and grindy and hot and sweaty. We ran along the road, and some folks almost got hit by cars a few times because we were on this really narrow-ass road. But I remember every detail of that experience because it sucked so bad. I remember last Sunday being in the parking lot of the Marriott in Ann Arbor with Jeff and Taryn Kilty doing dumbbell man makers and overhead lunges and parking lot shuttle runs because it sucked. I can't tell you what I had for breakfast that day, though, right? The super happy, boring memories have no impact on our brains. It's the tough times that kind of ingrain ourselves in our brains and are what we learn from. So recognize that at some level we don't want to take that away from people. That's who they are. Yeah, it's tough to deal with the side effects, but they are who they are. They're in the position they're in because of those experiences, and we don't want to cure them. So consider that the next time that you are trying to erase somebody's suffering and stress with a whole bunch of different treatment ideas and journaling and breathing and trying to 100% cure the person in front of you, because sometimes it's not possible, and sometimes we don't want to make it possible, right? We want those people to have those experiences because that's created the person that walks in to see you in the clinic or in the gym or wherever you're seeing people at. We want those. We want those experiences. We want that person that's in front of us. We can help them with some of the symptoms and side effects, but we don't want to erase the original cause. So better than that than to help somebody understand why they suffered and for what purpose, and to kind of help them give a little bit more meaning to why they're feeling what they are than trying to just give them treatment idea after treatment idea and overload them with stuff that they probably don't want to get rid of in the first place. So don't give people a million things to do. Don't try to erase their suffering or hypnotize them out of their memories. Help them understand what they suffered for, why they suffered, and it's kind of worth it, right? And kind of that links to helping them change their lifestyle. That if they change their lifestyle, what's the purpose of changing my lifestyle? What will I get out of it? You'll make that link a lot more better than just trying to give them a bunch of stuff to do. That being said, don't be disheartened, right? That you can't fix every person. Relent in your successes. Working with and having success with 80% of the people you come across is still something to be proud of. So I think while we do stress out too much about helping folks, we are making a difference. We see you all out there in Iceland making a difference. We see you guys starting your clinics. We see the changes kind of in overall the ICE community over the past couple years. And I hope that if we've given you nothing else, we've given you solace that you're not insane, right? That practicing this way, that addressing every facet of a person is not a crazy way to practice. It's the right way to practice, that talking about exercise, sleep, diet, social connection, and kind of gritty endurance, as we would say on the APHPT side of things, move, fuel, recover, endure, connect, is not a crazy way to practice. I know Mike probably thinks over the past 20 years of doing this that maybe he was insane, but I hope now that what Mike sees and what you all see out there is that it's not a crazy way to practice. It's the only way to practice, and that we do see the success you're having. And just take joy, especially on a day like today where we spend a lot of time reflecting. Take joy in the success that you're having. We see it in courses. We were in Ann Arbor last weekend, and a whole bunch of people, I didn't have no idea who they were. They'd never taken a NICE course before, but they listened to the podcast and they showed up. There was about 4 of them. They had whoops on, and they had their gym shorts ready, and they were ready to work out because they knew that's what ICE stands for, right? ICE stands for being about it, for taking control of your total health, and for leading from the front. And so these folks who had never taken an ICE course before, who we had never known, were already there ready, looking like diehard ICE converts. And so we see that change, that shift out there. We see the network that's being created. If you've taken an ICE course, you're over in the ICE students group. We see you all referring patients to each other and starting practices together, and that makes us really happy, and it should make you really, really happy too, that this whole idea of Physical Therapist 2.0 is not just a crazy idea by one dude out in New Jersey and one bearded dude in Colorado yelling at his phone. It's actually a thing that's not just catching on, but is kind of becoming a standard of practice as we now reach out to thousands and thousands of you across the country. So hitting home runs with 98% of people is still better than having 0% success like some folks in the rest of the profession have, and in the healthcare system as a whole. So just make sure you keep filling up your own cup. Don't try to save everybody. Don't try to cure everybody. Help who you can. Make sure you ask if they actually want your help, or if they're ready for your help, before you dive in and commit wholeheartedly to helping them. That will help your cup stay full, so you can still have some left in your cup for yourself and to give to others. And I'll just finish with this. Keep fighting, keep going. Those days where you don't have successes, those days will become few and far between. And just keep going. You will have 0% success if you stop. If you think that you're that crazy person in your clinic that is thinking the wrong way because no one else is changing their mind, just keep going. Keep being that crazy asshole that's doing remoms in the clinic and talking about sleep and having folks pick up heavy kettlebells. Keep being that person. I promise you, if you're crazy enough, if you're dedicated enough, you will outlast those other people. You will start to see those other clinicians in your clinic try and pretend like they know what they're doing, and try and have their own patients doing remoms in the corner, and having them try to do really bad kettlebell deadlifts. Because if you're persistent and you keep fighting, and you're that person that never gives up, you can change the culture in your clinic. You can change the culture in your healthcare system. So just keep leading from the front, right? It's the only place to lead from. Keep leading by example. People will change around you. It may not be as quick as you want it, but that's kind of what Mike gets on here every Monday and talks about. It's never as quick as we want it, but it will happen eventually. Keep following the principles of move, fuel, endure, connect, and recover. Keep talking about movement. Keep talking about diet and nutrition. Keep talking about eat more plants. Keep talking about the importance of social connection, the importance of sleep and recovery, and that overall endure, grit, connection. Do really hard shit, and do really hard shit with your friends. That makes life a lot more enjoyable. That's kind of what Murph is all about today, right? People look at a workout like Murph and they go, God, that looks miserable. And yeah, that's the point, right? Murph will take most people an hour, especially if you're not a CrossFitter. It will take you about an hour. It's an hour to just suffer. And in that suffering, could kind of just reflect on a whole bunch of different stuff. I know that when I do Murph, I'm usually thinking, man, this sucks, but it's better than being in combat. Man, this sucks, but it's better than being dead, right? And in our struggle to find meaning and not get burned out, you can get lost in the workout and just kind of reflect on how the suffering can almost bring you joy, right? You can start to enjoy how much a workout like Murph sucks. So I love how much Murph sucks. So do hard shit with your friends. If you haven't done Murph yet, go do Murph. If you're not somebody that's in the way to do Murph, then go hiking with your friends. Go for a walk with your friends. Just do something that really, really sucks today. Tim Kennedy is a Special Forces veteran. He made an Instagram post yesterday, and he said, how can you honor folks on Memorial Day? He said, don't worry about honoring folks on Memorial Day. Live your life like an American that was worth dying for, right? So go do something really cool and fun. Do it with your friends. If you have that friend that's a shut-in, call them and bring them out. And whether you're going to do a barbecue or you're going to do Murph, just go have fun. Go do some really cool American shit today and have a good time with your friends. And for those out there in the PT realm, just know that you can't save everybody, but you can save most people, and that's better than saving nobody, right? So have fun today. As I said, I used to be a guy who would stay in my house on Memorial Day and I can't believe all these people are barbecuing and riding boats on a day like today, but I've gotten over that, and so can you. So have a good time today. If you haven't watched Mike's video yet, go back and watch Mike's video. If you are in Michigan, you have 36 minutes to get to CrossFit Fenton and do Murph with us. If you are not a CrossFit Fenton member, but you want to come do Murph with us and you can be here in 36 minutes, then come down to CrossFit Fenton. I would love to pay your drop-in fee and have you all do Murph with us. So have a great day. Have a great holiday. If you have the day off today, go do some hard shit with your friends, and we'll see you all back on here tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.